video, I'm going to demonstrate that how you can solve any different types of or any type of profit and loss problems that come into government competitive exams, right? So firstly, we need to get familiar with different types of terminologies such as cost price, selling price, market price, and methodology. Methodology is how we are going to solve it and how everything works. So these are the main three terminologies: cost price, selling price, and market price. So cost price is basically the cost of producing or buying the goods. Like if you run a shop where you sell pens, the cost price of a pen, like let's suppose that a bundle of pen you buy from a supplier or the manufacturer directly at the cost price of 10 rupees, and you sell the bundle to the customer at 20 rupees. Your profit here is 10 rupees, right? So the cost price is the price that you pay to the supplier or the manufacturer, basically the money you pay to get the goods in the first place. Selling price is the price that you sell to the customer. Market price is, let's suppose, like the MRP of the pen, like there is a bundle of pen, the MRP of the pen is 30 rupees and you're selling it for 20 rupees. So the 30 rupees is the marked price, that the price is marked. So there could be questions like in a product that is marked as 30 rupees, or the market price of the product is 30 rupees, 20, there is a 20% discount, the seller wants to profit 20%, what is the cost price, right? So they could be said like the market price is so and so, and there is a discount and so and so. So that is basically what these terminologies mean. After that, methodology. So if in any method, going forward and backward must be easy, like the cost price to selling price and selling price to cost price. Basically these are the only basic methods in the, like if the problems are basic to intermediary, these are the only one we're going to use. So a student can easily calculate the cost price and the selling price per question, right? So percentage change and addition, will discuss this going forward. Now see, the selling price, the formula is selling price is the cost price multiplied by 1 minus the loss percentage divided by 100, right? So example, let's say like a bundle, a cloth, right? A dress sells for 240 rupees. So what is the cost price? How will we calculate if we know that, like let's say that a cloth or a dress cost 240 rupees, sold at 240 rupees, and the seller lost 10%. We wrote 0.9 because he lost 10%. Or we can also write like that, 90 by 100, which is 9 by 10, or sorry, 10 by 9, we'll flip it, so we get 10 by 9 by 10, we get 10 by 9. So 240 equals to cost price multiplied by 1 minus 0.1 because he had a 10% loss, equals to cost price into 0.9. So if we like solve it, we get 240 divided by 0.9. If we don't want to, like, we can do like that, we can multiply both sides by 10, and we can divide 2400 divided by 9. Rather than that, we can do like this way as well, that 240 multiplied by 10 by 9, we'll just flip it 10 by 9, and we can then cut it and do calculation. It will be 266.67, right? So that is basically how we get the cost price when we have a loss percentage or selling percentage. We'll see the question, it is in the questions here only, right? So I think it is this question only, that by selling an article for 240, a man incurs a loss of 10%. At what price should he sell so he makes a profit of 20%? So by this process, what we did, so we wrote the selling price of 240 and a man incurs loss of 10%, right? So we wrote 10%, 1 minus 10 by 100, so it is 0.1, 1 minus 10 by 100 is 0.1, 1 minus 0.1 is CP into 0.9. So we just wrote the 0.9 in fraction form for easier calculation, and we got 266.67, and I'll show how to solve this problem. So there are basically shortcut formulas for profit and loss, that profit equals to selling price minus cost price. It's basic, as I gave the example of the pens. Let's say that you purchase the pen from the manufacturer or the distributor for 10 rupees, and you sell to the customer at 20 rupees. So your profit is 10 rupees. So cost selling price is 20 and cost price is 10. So 20 minus 10 is 10 rupees. So the loss, same, cost price minus selling price when the selling cost price is greater than selling price. So let's say that the pen cost, like you purchase the pen from the distributor at 25 rupees and you sold at 20 rupees. So 25 minus 20 is 5 rupees. So your loss would be 5 rupees because here cost price is greater than the selling price. If we want to calculate profit percentage, it would be profit divided by the cost price multiplied by 100. Same, we'll just some formula we will use when we want to calculate the loss percentage given we have the cost price. So when there is a profit, how will we calculate in selling price, in a question where we have the value of the selling price and we want to calculate the profit, we want to when there is a profit and we want to get the selling price, when there is a profit percentage given and we want to calculate the selling price and we are given the cost price, what we will do, 100 plus the profit percentage, it could be 5%, so 100 plus 5 divided by 100 multiplied by cost price. So let's say that the profit percentage is 10 for the easier calculation, 110 divided by 100, and let's say the product cost is also the product cost is 10 rupees, right? So it would be like that, 11 by 10 multiplied by 10, so it would be 110 divided by 10, 0 cancel, the product cost would come to 11 rupees, selling price would come to 11 rupees. So if the cost price is 10 and the seller wants to make a profit of 10%, he will sell at 11 rupees. Basic common sense as well, that the 10% of 10 is 1 rupees, which would come to 10 plus 1 equals to 11. But if the values are different, the calculations would be much more difficult to get the selling price. So hence there is this formula, and when we want to get the selling price and there is a loss percentage given, we'll use the same formula, just instead of profit percentage we'll use loss percentage, and as this is a loss, we'll use the we will subtract from the 100 value as we did here, right? And going ahead, when like just same, when we want to retrieve the cost price and we are given the selling price, we'll use same formula, just we'll flip it, 100 divided by 100 plus profit percentage, and same 100 minus by L%, which is the loss percent, multiplied by the selling price. Now discount. So how would we calculate discount? Discount would be market price minus selling price, and the selling price with discount. That means that how would we calculate the selling price when there is a discount? It would be market price or mark price subtracted by discount. Now come here. Find the cost price if the selling price is 420 and the loss is 20%. Find the cost price when the selling price is 420 and the selling price is 420 and the loss is 20%. We'll just use the same formula, that we will write 420 multiply with 20%. So there is a loss of 20%. It would be 1 minus 20 by 100. How much it comes? 1 minus 0.8. So it comes to it comes to 1 by 5, right? So it will come to 0.8. So always there is a trick, like if this is the loss is 20%, how you will calculate? Well, this is the bar of 1, it is plus, that means profit, it is minus, that means loss. If there is a 10% loss, we will subtract 0.1, so it would be 0.9, 20% loss 0.8, and 30% loss 0.7, and it goes on. Same goes for this side. So if there is a profit, it would be 1 plus. So if there is a 10% profit, 1.1, 20% profit, 1.2, 30% profit, 1.3, and so on, right? So now it would be 420. Because there is a loss of 20%, you don't need to do this 1 plus or 1 minus 20 by 100. It is so time consuming. 1 minus 1 by 5 or 1 minus 0.2 times 0.8. So you can write like that. So if there's a 20% loss, if this is a loss, it would be 1 minus how much percent? 20%. So 0.8, it would be 0.2. 0.8. Yes. So 420, we can write the 0.8 in fraction form. In exam, use 5 by 4 instead of 0.8, like 420 times 5 by 4 equals to 525. So 420 times 5 by 4, which what we did, just see, we can write 0.8 as this way, right? 100 by 80. 5, 4, we divided 10 and 8 both by 5 and 4. So it comes to 5 by 4. So we wrote 5 by 4, we cut 4 with 420. It comes to this 105, and we then multiply the 105 with 5, which comes to 535, right? 525. 5 to 5. So in the second question, we need to find the selling price when the market price is given 420 rupees and the discount is 20%, right? So there is a, let's say there is a pen that is being sold for, there is a cloth, it would be perfect example, it would be there is a dress, it is being sold at 420 rupees, but there is a 20% discount on it. So what is the actual selling price? So the MRP on of the cloth is 420 rupees, but on 420 rupees there is a discount of 20%. So how would we find the selling price of the dress, that the money we would pay to the cashier? For which what we would do, we would divide the 20% with 420. So 20% we know is 0.8. We earlier saw in the video that 20% loss is 0.8, 20% profit is 1.2. If they if there is 100%, it will be 1. If it is less than 100%, it would be 0.9, 0.8, like that. Basically 100 divided by the amount of percentage that is given. So we would divide 420 by 0.8, which is 20%. Because it's a discount, it would be 0.8, right? Because it is in reducing or in a loss manner. So if we see, it would be 420 divided by 0.8. We can also write this in a fraction in this way. The 0.8 we write in 10 by 8, but when we are multiplying, it would be 10 by 8 by 420 in this way. So what it will do, it would be 8 by 10. We can write this 420 divided by 10 by 8 in this format. So 0 cancel, it would be 42 multiplied by 8, which is 16, 1, 8 4 is 32, 33, 336. The answer is 336, right? So the basic is that if the product, if the market price of the product is 420 and there is a discount of 20%, the selling price, what we would do, we would just calculate the 20% discount on 420 that we usually do, and we'll get the product price is 336. Now a different type of next type of profit and loss problem is the cost price of 15 articles is same as the selling price of 10 articles. What is the profit percentage? It is a very common type of problems that we will see, that if the cost price of 15 articles, if cost price of 15 articles equals to selling price of 10 articles, what is the profit percentage here? So here's a formula that it is a bit complicated. It is the simplified version, that profit percentage is going to be x minus y divided by y multiplied by 100, where x is the cost price, y is the selling price. So in a very way, like, we will just take these two as references and will not care of anything. The cost price of 15 articles, that means 15 CP equals to 10 SP. So we would write like x minus y by y multiplied by 100. So it would be 15 minus 10 by 10 multiplied by 100, or it would be 5 by 10 multiplied by 100, which is 1 by 2. So it is 50%. Right, if we cut 2 with 100, it's 50. So the profit percentage is 50, and it follows for every these type of problem that we will see in further, right? For example, let's take these. For example, the cost price of 18 articles equals to the selling price of 15 articles. We'll do the same problem. The cost price of 18 articles, right? So 18 divided minus 15 by 15 multiplied by 100. So here we will get 3, here we will get 15, 3, 15, 5, and we'll cut this 5 or divide 5 with 100, we get 20. So it should be 20%. Here's this. right? So this is how we solve these types of problems, that the cost price of X articles is equal to the selling price of Y articles. Then what is the profit percentage, what is the gain percentage? Now coming up next, an article is sold at a loss of 10%, right? An article is sold at a loss of 10%. Had it been sold for rupees 9 more, there would have been a gain of 25 by 2% on it. The cost price of the article is, right? So let's see, there is a set of formulas that we use to solve these kinds of problems. So this is, and this one, right? If you see, it is also a bit similar. A bookseller sells at a profit of 10% if he had bought it at 4% less and sold it at 6 rupees more, he would have gained 75 by 4%. The cost price of the book is, so a bookseller originally sells a book at 10% profit. So originally the cost price is X. We are assuming that the cost price is X, and the original selling price would be 1.1x, as he had a profit of 10%, right? If he had bought it for 4% less, the new cost price is going to be 0.96. Makes sense. If it is 4% less, it would be 0.96x. And sold it for 6 rupees more, the new selling price is going to be 1.1x plus 6. Then the profit, it would be 75 by 4, which is 18.75%. So we just wrote 1.10x, which is this, plus 6, which is the new SP, equals to 0.96x, this one, multiplied by 1.187, which is 18.75. So if you see, if you do the multiplication here, it comes to 1.140. We subtracted, divided, and got the answer value of 150. So it is the problem we have right now is also similar. If you see, we just have one or two values simpler. They just don't say that had it been bought at 5% less or 6% less, but the procedure to solve will be similar. So let's assume an article is sold at 10% less. Had it been sold, let's assume the article is X, and had it been an article is sold at a loss of 10%, so it would be 0.9x. So I will solve this in one line. I will not write that let it be X, let it be Y, so and so. I'm not going to write that much. It is going to be very straightforward, because in exam we don't have that much time. Had it been sold for 9 rupees more, so it would be 0.9x plus 9. So if it was sold for 9 rupees more plus 9, the gain would be 25.2 percentage. It would be 12.5. So it is 1.125, right? 1.125x. So it would be 0.9x minus 1.125x, 12.5. Yes, correct. It is minus 9. So it is 0. So it is going to be 0.225 equals to 9. It is going to be minus. It is going to be minus 0.025. So I'm just cancelling both sides minus. So it is x. So x equals to 9 by 0.0225. So we can write like x equals to 90 by 22.5. It is going to be 900. If it is 22.5, it is going to be 40, right? So it is going to be 40. So that is how we do it. So there is other ways to do it, like this method, that from 10% loss to 12.5% gain, the total difference is 22.5%. So if for rupees X difference Y percent of cost price, if rupees X difference equals to Y percent of cost price, then cost price is X into 100 divided by Y. So the 9 rupee for rupees 9 difference, there is 22.5% difference. So we are calculating like that. So if the selling price is increased by 9 rupees, the difference is 22.5. From a loss of 10%, now you are earning 12.5%. So we need 22.5%. From a loss of negative 10%, you are going to 12.5%. So what would be the cost price? So it would be 900. It would be calculate it based on that only. So it would be 900 divided by 22.5 equals to 40, but I think it is simpler. We just write the equation and solve the equation and we get the value, right? Now coming to the next type of problems, here is this. So if there is a ratio like selling price ratios, cost price equals to 5x to 4, or we can write cost price ratio selling price 4x to 5, we will write as CP by SP equals to 5 by 4, right? And we are going to cross multiply it. So CP is 4 and SP is 5. So for formula would be 4 minus 5 by 5 into 100. So it is for the earlier type of problems, like if if the cost price of 4 articles is equals to the selling price of 5 articles, what is the cost price or what is the profit percentage, is for problems like this, right? Now if the cost price of articles or etc is selling price of so and so, then how will you solve it? In this type we assume that the cost price for the said selling price like 10 CP equals to 9 CP, like that. If the selling price is double digit, it is that 20% or 80%, we will assume 100, where in this case we will do X percent of 100 or 10 as per the value of selling price. So 20% of 100 is 20 minus, in this case we will assume 20 as CP. 80% 80 minus, in this case we will assume 80 as CP. So it might be a little ambiguous right now, but when we will solve problems based on these types of problems, it will become much and much clear, right? So let's see a few problems. That if the cost price of articles is equals to the selling price of 9 articles, the gain and loss percentage is, so we need to get the percentage in this case. So they are saying if the cost price of articles is equals to the selling price of 9 articles, so we will assume that the cost price is 10, like we just said. Like if the value of selling price, if the articles, that 9 articles, if it is in single digit or 2 digit, we will assume 10. If it was 90 articles, we would have assumed 100 CP. So we are just assuming the value of CP, and we will calculate the percentage based on that, right? So let's say that CP is 10 and SP is given as 9. So we know what is going to be 10 minus 9 by 9 into 100. It is going to be 1 by 9 into 100, right? So we can write like 100 by 9, which is this. But is it going to be profit? Yes, because the value here is in positive. Now coming next, that if the selling price of article is 8 by 5 times its cost price, the profit percentage is how much? So here one selling price equals to 8 by 5. If the selling price of the articles is 8 by 5 times of its cost price, so if the selling price of the article is 8 by 5 times of the cost price, then what is the profit percentage, right? So if we can say 5 SP equals to 8 by 5 into 5. We are just multiplying both sides with 5. So we get 5 SP equals to 8 CP. So we can write like this: SP by CP equals to 5 by 8. So 8 SP equals to 5 CP. Oh no, sorry, we don't need that. We don't need cross multiplication here, because we already got this value from here. We can write like 8 minus 5 by 5 into 100. So it is 3 by 5 into 100, I believe. Yes, so it will come to, the profit percentage would be 20. 5 divided by 100, 20, 20 multiplied by 3, 60. So it would be D, 60%. Now here we have other problems that we are going to see. Like let's take an example of the 18th problem here. If the selling price of 16 items is equal to the cost price of 20% items, the gain or loss percentage, here we will assume the total items is 100 and based on that we will calculate. So if the selling price of 16 items is equal to the cost price of 20%, then the gain or loss percentage, what it will be? The selling price of 16 items is equal to the cost price of 20% of the items, right? So the selling price of 16 items, let's assume there is 100 products, right? So if the selling price of 16 items is 20% of CP, we will assume CP is 100, as we earlier saw that if there is a double digit, we will assume total quantities is 100. So it is going to be 16 SP equals to 20% of CP. 20% of CP is 80. Sorry, 20% of CP is 20, right? Because 100's 20% is 20. So it is going to be 20 minus 16 by 16 into 100. It is 4 by 16 into 100. So it is going to be 1 by 4. 25%. So it would be a gain of 25%, right? Now coming to the next types of problems. Coming up next is the range-based profit maximization problem. Range-based profit maximization problem. What you do in this types of problem, you take the lowest cost price, you take the highest selling price, get the profit per unit, which is highest selling price subtracted by the lowest cost price, and then multiply with the number of items. For example, let's say if gadgets bought at price ranging from 400 to 600, it is the price range, and sold at the price ranging from the 500 to 750, it's again the price range. What is the maximum possible profit? The maximum possible profit, if it was the lowest possible profit, it would be we would take 600 and we would take 500, but because it's a maximum possible format, we'll take the lowest cost price. We'll assume that the person bought it at the cheapest available, like cheapest option available, and sold it at the highest possible gain. So we'll take 400 and we'll take 750, basically the lowest CP and highest SP, because we want to find the maximum possible, and it comes to 350, and we'll multiply with 12 because we need to find the profit for 12 gadgets, right? So it's 4200. Now coming up next is equal selling price with equal gain percentage or loss percentage. These type of problem comes to exams like IBPS, and we will also see that equal cost price, if you see, it's equal selling price with equal gain percentage and loss percentage. So for the equal cost price with equal gain percentage or loss percentage, we'll see how to solve these type of problem in the next page. So when these types of problems comes, we will take the selling price of both machines or items, whatever there is, or articles. If a gain is if gain use is 1.1, we'll take 10%. Like if the gain they say is 10%, we'll take 1.1. If they say 20%, we'll take 1.2 and multiply with fraction. And to get cost price, same for loss, to multiply with fraction to get the cost price, and same for loss percentage. If like if there is a loss, we will take 0.9 in case of 10%, and if there is a 50% loss, we'll take 0.5 and so on, right? And we will add all the values of the selling price and all the values of the cost price separately, and we'll just do CP minus SP. Let's take an example that how these are done. Like a person sells two machines at rupees 396 each. On one he gains 10%, and on the others he loses 10%. His profit or loss in whole transaction is, you might think that he sold two machines at 396. In one machine he get a profit of 10%, and in another he got a loss of 10%. It would be 0%, he would be flat, but no, it is not like that. So the question that is asked is his profit or loss in whole transaction. What is it? Is it 0 rupees because he earned 10% and lost 10%? No. So let's see that the selling price of both machines is 396 because a person sells two machines at 396 each. So gain percentage is 10, loss percentage is 10. So in machine 1 the gain percentage is SP equals to cost price into 1 plus 10 by 100. It is the formula. So basically it is like 10 by 100 is 1 by 10. So if we 1 by 10, which is 0.1, so 1 plus 0.1 is 1.1. So SP equals SP, like the one I told you right now, is like there is a, like we also learned earlier, like if there is a 10% gain, use 1.1. So the basic formula is that we just calculate in our head that if the profit is 10% or 15%, it would be 1.15. It's just we do it in our head, it is much faster. So it comes to CP equals to 1.1 CP equals to 396 because we know this selling price is 396. So if we like calculate, we get the gain to 360. How? The like 1.1 CP equals to 396. So 396 so CP equals to 396 into 10 by 11. We just wrote this 1.1 into fraction form and we just calculated it as 360. Now another machine, he lost 10%, so we just use 0.9 and same formula we did, 396 into 10 by 9, which comes to 440. So the second machine was 440, he sold at 10% loss at 396, and the first machine was 360, he sold at a gain of 10% at 390 rupees. So his net loss is 8 rupees here, right? His net loss is 8 rupees. How we calculate it is the total selling price. It would be 396 plus 396 because he sold the both machines at 396 each, and the total cost price is the 360 plus 440, which is 800 rupees. So there, from there we calculated the net loss is 8 rupees. So if we calculate based on percentage wise, it would be 8 by 800 times 100, it is 1%, right? Because it would be the part by whole. The whole is the total cost price. Whole is here, whole would be the cost price. I have also written that. So part by whole into 100. So 8 by 800 equal multiplied by 100 is 1%. So the answer, it would be 1%. Right. Now we will see that how to solve problem when there is a cost price involved. So so equal cost price, different loss or gain percentage, right? So cost price of 3 articles X. So cost price of 3 articles X, Y, Z is equal. Article X is sold at 25% profit, Y at 10%, Z at 15% profit. The overall profit is 90 rupees. To achieve an overall profit of 150, what price Y be sold? It is a bit advanced level problem, but I think we will be fine. Let the cost be C. So we are just giving these because we don't have any value that at what price the articles are sold. So we'll just assume the selling price. Let's let the cost price of the article be C. Sorry, not selling price, cost price, because it's a cost price problem. So we'll assume the cost price C. We need to find the selling price, or at what price article Y be sold, to get a profit of 150 rupees. Now article X is sold at a profit of 25, so it's 1.25, and Y at 10%, so it is 0.9. 10% loss. I have not written that. Y at a 10% loss here, and article Z is at a 15% profit, so it is 1.15 C. Right. Now current profit condition is total is 3C, right? 3 articles combined. We assume that 3 article is C is sold at the price of C each, which we assumed. So C plus C plus C is 3C, and the total selling price, article X is sold, so that means it's a selling price. So selling price, if you calculate, is 3.3C. So the total current profit is 0.3C, right? So given overall profit is 90 rupees, that if we assume that article X is sold at 25%, Y at 10% loss, and Z at 15% profit, the overall profit, and if after that the overall profit is 90 rupees, then the value of C we get is 300 rupees, that the cost of the articles is 300. Now let's find the required selling price for Y. For overall profit of 150 rupees, required total is 3C plus 150, or we can say 3.3C, because we calculated based on the profit of 3.3C, and we got the profit of 90 rupees, because total, when the total SP is 3.3C, we had a gain overall profit of 90 rupees, right? So it represents 90 plus 60. So if we calculate 3.3 into 300, because the value of C is 300 we found, so it comes to 1050 rupees, right? So if X and Z remains the same, SP of X plus SP of Z equals to 1.25, which they give 1.25 into C 300, 0.9, 1.25 into 300 plus 1.15. So we are assuming that if X and Z are same, because we need to find that what price Y should be sold, right? So if X and Z are same, which is 1.25C and 1.15C, then it would be 1.25 into 300 plus 1.15 plus 300 is 720 rupees. So the required selling price for Y would be 1050 minus 720, which is 330 rupees. 330 rupees, because see, what is happening is, like, we are assuming that if the value of X and Z are same, like if from X and Z we get a value of 720 rupees, right, and we need 1050 rupees overall profit to gain 150 rupees profit, because the total item cost price is 900 rupees, right? So we need 1050 profit, so we need 150 profit. So if the value of Y right now, what is the value of Y? The value of Y is right now 270 rupees, 0.9 into 300. So if the value of Y increased, we will how much if it increase, we will get 1050 profit. Right now it is 270. So if it is increased by 60, we will get if it is increased by 60, we will get 1050, right? That is what we wrote here. So we just did this in a different way, that like required selling price would be Y equals to 1050, which is this, minus 720, this equals to 330. But we can calculate in other ways, like think of it like that in like assuming these values, we get a profit of 990 rupees and we need 1050 rupees, 1050 rupees to get a profit of 150 rupees, where with this value where we get 990, our profit is 990, where the value of Y here is 270 rupees, 0.9 into 300. So if we like we added 60 here, we need 60 more profit. So if the value of Y is increased by 60, 270 plus 60 equals to 330. So we can calculate in this way as well, right? So we'll see now some problems, such as, let's take an example for this problem. The price of a refrigerator and television set are in ratio of 5:3. If the refrigerator costs 5500 more than the television set, then the price of the refrigerator is how much? Okay. So they are saying that the price of refrigerator and television are in ratio of 5:3. So R by T equals to 5/3. Then the price of 3 refrigerator is equals to 5 television set. We can write like that. Now they are saying that one single refrigerator costs 5500 more than a television, so we can put this value here, 3 into 5500 plus television equals to 5T, which comes to 5500 times 3, 16,500 plus 3 television equals to 5T. It would be 2T equals to 16,500. Minus will cancel out each other, so T is going to be 16,500 divided by 2, right? So it would be 8250. but notice it is the price of the television set. Now we know that the refrigerator is 5500 plus television set, so it would be 8250 plus 5500 007. It should be approximately 13,700 750. Yes, so it would be 5. It would be answer number C, right? It's a bit trick because when you calculate you get 8250, but you need to remember that it is the price of the television cost and you need to add 5500 with that, and so answer would be C here. Right, now there is a other types of problems, like they will say that a shopkeeper sells a TV set at the same price, the gain of 20% on the TV and loss of 20%. A shopkeeper sells two TV sets at the same price. There is a gain of 20% on the one TV and loss of 20% on the other TV. State which of the following statements are correct. The shopkeeper makes a no net loss or profit, because I think it will come to you first, because he gains 20% in one TV and in 20% in other TV, but we earlier saw that is not the case. The shopkeeper gains 4%, loses 4%, and so on. So in these types of problem where it is on the same price and the gain and loss percentage is also same, what we can do, if the value is not given and we just want to find out that what would be the approximate gain or loss of the shopkeeper, what you will do, you will write loss percentage equals to x square by 100. So extremely simple, right? So it is 20, so it is going to be 20 square by 100, which is like 400. If you know 20 square is 400, divided by 100 is 4, so it is going to be gain of 4%. Same, Bhuvanesh sells two tape recorders at same price. It is at the same price, one at 10% loss and one at 10% gain. So it is going to be 10 square by 100, which is 1. So it would be 1% gain. Right, same formula here. A trader sells two articles at 6,000 each. He makes a profit of 20% and lose 20%. What is the gain or loss percentage? It is going to be 20%, like 4%. We know that 4% gain. 20 square by 100. Right, now coming to next types of problems, like it would be profit and loss on reverse calculations. Like an article is sold at a loss of 10%. Had it been sold for 9 rupees more, there would have been a gain of 25 by 2%. The cost price of the article is. So an article is sold at a loss of 10%. Had it sold for 9 rupees more, there would have been a gain of 25 by 2%. This is the cross price of the article. So we can do like this formula or the earlier formula that I sold. Like this formula is like, we'll take this as a PSP1, which is 10% loss, and this as SP2, which is 12.5%, and we'll do D, which is the difference of 9 rupees divided by P2 minus P1 by 100, which is much simpler, you can say. But if 9 by 22.5 by 100, which is 900 by 22.5. But if you do not want to memorize different types of formulas every time, you can use the earlier formula as well, which we use. I think it is also the same calculation, but let's do it. Yes, it is the same calculations only. We earlier saw this problem. It would be 0.9x because there is a 10% loss, and had it been 9 rupees more plus 9 equals to 12.5, 1.125x, and we calculated, we got 40 rupees. So instead of memorizing this formula, if like you can use the earlier method I showed. So there is another thing is change in selling price, change in loss percentage. By selling a table for 350 instead of 4%. So when you see problems like instead of 400, you can use this formulas. So by selling a table for 350 instead of 400, loss percentage increased by 5%. The cost price of the table is, so the formula is, to get the cost price, you just write a change in selling price, multiply with 100 and divide by the change in percentage. The change in percentage is 5%, and the change in SP is 50, not anything else, because this instead of 400. So instead of 400 part, we'll write first, which is going to be X. Then we are going to subtract from the 350 where it was sold. So it's 50, so 50 by 8 times 100, or you can write 100 here as well. So 50 by 5 into 100, it comes to 1000. So the cost price of the table is 1000 rupees. Coming up next is change from loss to profit. So let's say that an item selling price is 1 rupees, which is SP1, at a loss of P1%, right? And we want to find the selling price 2, which is SP2, to earn a profit of P2%. Then the formula is SP2 is going to be SP1 multiplied with 100 plus P2 by 100 plus P1. Let's look at an example to better understand the problem and the understanding, right? So if an article is sold at 178 at a loss of 11%, and what should be the selling price in order to earn a profit of 11%, right? So we could do it manually, like we can like calculate the cost price of the article on 178 and then calculate the profit, but there is also a formula for that. So we will write SP2 equals to 178 multiplied by 111 by 89. How did I get this number? So 111 is the profit percentage, so we'll 100 plus 11 and 11 like the loss percentage. If an article is sold at 11% loss, it is going to be 100 minus 11, 89. So if we do the calculation, we get 222 rupees. Earlier we also solved these kinds of problem, but there what we did, we calculated 11% of 178, then we got the cost price of the product, then we calculated 11% on the cost price, and then we would have got 222 rupees. But instead of that, we can use this formula, which is a direct single formula. SP2 equals to SP1 into 100 plus P2 by 100 plus P2 divided by 100 minus P1. So basically the cost of the article that is given multiplied with the 100 plus profit percentage and divided by 100 minus loss percentage, right? The coming up next is profit and loss change in cost price and selling price. So let's say a bookseller at a profit of 10%. We just did the problem, so we're not going to explain it again, we just explained this. So this is how we do it, and the cost price would be 150 rupees in here. So we just wrote the equation, multiplied it, we took this x value to this side, we got 6 divided by 0.04 multiplied with 100 in both sides, we get 600 by 4, it's 150, right? Now there aren't that much problems, these are just some examples. Let's take an example and let's do it. Let's do this one. A man sold an article at a loss of 20%. If he has sold the article for 12 more, he would have gained 10%. Find the cost price of the article. Same old formula. A man sold the article at a loss of 20%. So as the loss of 20% is 0.8x equal plus it is going to be 12 rupees and 10%. 12 rupees 1.1x. So it is going to be 0.8x minus 1.1x equals to minus 12. It is going to be minus 0.2, 0.3. X equals to minus 12. X is going to be 12 by 0.3. If we multiply it 10, it is going to be 120 by 3. It is 4. It is going to be 40. It's going to be option number B. Option number B here, right? So that is it. I think I have explained like majority types of problems. I think there would be much more problems when we go much more and more deeper. I might be making another video for that, but as of now, these are the types of problems in profit and loss, problems and sets, and with these methods, I think you would be able to solve these kinds of problems on profit and loss.